6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope you're all doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Also, make sure you do check out the channel memberships located below. There are channel members only videos, trade ideas, added tips in terms of psychology, trade ideas, technical analysis. So if you are interested, make sure you go check that out if you haven't done so already. Look at that, my mic wasn't even on. What's up guys? Just basically saying hello to everyone, so I hope you're all doing good. Antonio will take a look at the DXY as well, so do not worry. I'm still very bullish on the USD, but yeah, the market's just been so bullish. I do need some pullbacks before I do take any opportunities. In terms of JPY, I still do have a lot of focus there as well. We've been very, very bullish, generally speaking, for the past maybe 2-3 weeks. We've had some pullbacks. I am still very much looking at opportunities to take the JPY pairs higher, so we'll talk a lot more about that as well. I will start with the DXY, go through the USD majors, and we'll talk about gold and silver as well. Then I'll go to the yen pairs and what's basically on my watch list as well. But we'll discuss the idea then, Tony, about the conviction and closure above 100.250 as well. Any chart recommendations, pairs you're looking to trade, ideas you have, drop it in the chat and we'll be happy to discuss and take a look. But as always guys, if you're enjoying the content, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do share with your friends as well. It does really help out. But as always, we'll start with the DXY. So I have been very bullish on the dollar, very bullish on the dollar. What's up, Rudra? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. MA cross VWAP, ADX and RSI to determine how the market is moving. If the short MA crosses the MA period on the market and the price is trading above VWAP. Yeah, I mean I have experimented with moving averages, VWAP, ADX, RSI. As well. I mean, I'm starting to use the ADX a lot more actually. You can see it's actually at the bottom of my chart there in the bottom left corner. So yeah, ADX I do think is good in terms of just understanding how expansive the market, because in terms of me looking at the chart, I can basically dictate if the market is making higher highs and higher lows or lower lows and lower highs. So I can dictate trend to a pretty good degree, how aggressive it is, if it's light trending or if it's stagnant. But in terms of ADX, that kind of does calculations, which of course I won't be doing in my mind, and it will show how expansive the market is or how flat the market is. So that's quite a good added benefit. VWAP as well can be quite beneficial. I'm going to experiment more with VWAP. I've used it a bit in the past, but I never really dive deep into VWAP. Moving averages I've used a lot. I still do use moving averages as well. RSI, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with RSI. I do think it's quite useful in terms of divergence. In terms of just looking at overbought and oversold, I don't think there's that much merit to it because the signals are not that quite premium. They're quite consistent, so there's not much value there. So how do you determine daily bias or other indicators? I don't really determine daily bias. I just know in terms of trend. I don't necessarily know what the market's going to do on the day. But for example, the DXY right now is making higher highs and higher lows. So I instantly know what my bias is. It's bullish. Until I start to see maybe signs of the trend starting to fatigue, basically failing at highs, or maybe deeper pullbacks, or of course a break of structure, that's going to be the biggest determination if a trend is looking to flip or exhausting, or maybe is going to pause. So in terms of dictating bias, I'm just looking to follow momentum. Where's the market moving? If the market is trending up, higher highs and higher lows, momentum's pointing up too, well then I know I'm looking to primarily look to buy this market. And the best indicator of that from my experience has always been price action in terms of highs, lows. Where's that being repeated? Is the market consistently making higher highs and higher lows? Well, that's a very easy to spot bullish market. And then you can look at how deep the pullbacks are, how frequent they are, how price breaks the high. Those are key indicators as well, just in terms of visual, to understand if a trend is healthy or a trend is dying. Look, what's my opinion on NFP? What do you mean, in terms of like the event itself, or the fact that we're not having NFP at the moment? I mean, in terms of NFP itself, it's just another big news event that will cause a lot of volatility in the markets. As a trader, manage risk. If you're looking at NFP in terms of fundamentals to help form a bias, that can be very useful in terms of the event, in terms of the numbers that come out. But what I would say is, you're never really looking to trade the event, because the event itself is very uncertain and very not really good trading conditions. You've got a lot of uncertainty, spreads widen, slippage can occur. It's just not the best time to be trading. So if you're going to use NFP for a bias for like the next few weeks potentially, wait for the news to release, wait for things to settle, and then maybe the following week. So if it's released on Friday, following week, then you can use that to your advantage. But yeah, I see it just a big catalyst to get the market moving, really. Do you use breakout patterns? Not really. I don't really trade breakouts. I normally look for price to pull back to a discount, so a retestable level or a deep pullback into a demand area, trend line. I'm looking for price to be lower than what, if we've got an uptrend, I want price to be deep in the uptrend for me to buy. I don't like so much buying at the highs, because my instincts is always, okay, if I'm going to buy at the highs, my thinking is that I need to be out pretty quickly, because there's not much room for us to keep going. I mean, of course, the trend can continue, but I'd rather buy deep with the expectation of a big continuation. It allows better risk to reward, I'm positioned better. So yeah, I never really look to trade breakout patterns. But anyway, let's get into the dollar. So the DXY, of course, past few days has been looking very bullish, very consistent higher highs and higher lows. The market now is pushing back into this level here, which we were discussing yesterday. I did say be careful of this level, because of course you can see we had a lot of selling pressure, and of course it is our last lower high in the market. This is our high, which of course gave us this low, which actually took out this low here as well. So the market is actually pretty bearish in terms of the higher time frames, but of course recently we have shifted as we have formed bullish structure. So this is going to be a very interesting point now for the DXY. Do we just break straight through this? Does the market react? We'll have to wait and see. Antonio, your question was, if there's a strong close this week with conviction on the DXY above 100.25-ish zone, I would recommend telling you guys to be careful dealing with the USD. Do you mean in terms of looking to follow that momentum, Antonio? Because if we do see a strong close above that, I mean, that just shows momentum's picking up for USD. Of course, I wouldn't be looking to buy right at the highs there, but if momentum does pick up and we see a strong close above that high on the week, I'll be very bullish on the dollar. Unless you mean be careful in terms of sells. Well, then again, you can still look to sell, but just be fairly in and out. So yeah, I'm not too sure what you mean by that. I know it's going to be a sensitive zone for buying and selling, but if we see a strong close on the week above that area, that tells me that this probably is a low, a bottom, and we could see price trend to the upside for a while. I'm not talking complete reversal, although that could be the case. But I would expect more upside for the next few weeks. Of course, we might have some bearish weeks in there as well, but I think that would be a big sign if we get close above that level, because that's a break of this high. That kind of makes me, that would make me very bullish, especially for higher time frame backing. But in terms of the DXY momentum and trend itself, still very bullish. It's just, we are coming to a very sensitive zone right now. So I said at the start of the week, if we can find some pullbacks into this zone, this would be a very nice place for a long. Unfortunately, the market's just been very, very bullish, so it doesn't look like we're going to get that retest, or at least as of yet. Things can change. Maybe price reacts with this level and we have a bearish week next week and we can find some longs. But this week has just been continuous upside, and the best way to be trading this is dropping intraday and looking for more minor pullbacks and just following that momentum pretty aggressively. We were talking about the retest of this range yesterday. Really nice retest, price continued. I like this low here as well. If price can come back, retest this environment, I think that's a great place to position a long, a stop loss underneath the low as well. That looks like a great place for a long too. And again, you're not looking for such a big trade here because the market's already quite extended. If we scale back to the 4-hour chart, you can see how big of a move since the Fed interest rates kicked in. It's been a pretty big move. So you're kind of just looking to take advantage of what's happening right now, which is a pretty strong uptrend. So dropping lower, taking advantage of those shorter pullbacks is probably the best way to trade the market right now, because the bigger swings you're looking for, if you're looking for bigger pullbacks, you're going to have to be very patient. And we might not even get it. So USD very, very bullish for now. In terms of euro dollar, pretty much the inverse of that analysis. Price is continuously falling. Again, I do have some more bearish targets below us. I'm looking at a push back to this low here. So I'm expecting a lot more downside, to be honest, for euro dollar. However, again, in terms of trading it, I was looking for a push to this zone here. It's just unfortunate. We've just seen such a bearish move. So again, maybe price does pull back. Of course, at the moment, it's not looking likely, but things can change quickly. So again, if you're looking for opportunities, sort of similar situation to what was happening with gold with the aggressive uptrend, looking for a bigger pullback never came. It was just consistent, intraday pullback. So again, dropping to the 15, this is where you probably find a bit more success with opportunities. I would suggest if you can get another drive back into the high there, that'll be a smart place for a short. Basically catching the retest of this low here as well, but sweeping that high as well. Find some entries, stops above the high, targets back into the prior low, and then you can look for a continuation off the back of that. So very, very bearish here for euro dollar. Of course, we're looking extremely bearish right now, so it's going to be an ask to get price back up here, but that's really where you want to be finding your shorts. Entering here, I think, is just a little bit late to the party. So euro dollar, this zone looks really really attractive for some entries, especially in the 15. From a 4-hour perspective, I would be waiting for a deeper pullback, but I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer. So going to keep a close eye on the USD pairs. We are still seeing a lot of momentum here. You're referring to dollar yen. Oh, okay. Well, again, we haven't had NFP this week or last week. No, we're having NFP this week. Sorry, got my days confused. Is NFP back this week? Let me go check Forex Factory. I thought the first was last Friday, but no, we got the first Friday this month. So in terms of NFP, I'm not too sure if NFP is even going ahead this Friday. So I can't really say too much on that. NFP has been in shutdown mode for the past news releases. So yeah, I don't think we have to actually worry about NFP. I'll still be a bit cautious just because of the uncertainty and it's a bit foreign. But I don't think we have NFP this Friday. So in terms of just looking at dollar yen, I'll just stick with the price action. Right now, we're in a very clean uptrend. I'll stick with the longs for now until proven otherwise, but it doesn't look like NFP is going to be released on Friday, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But I will go through dollar yen in a bit more detail. Antonio, absolutely, I can easily see DXY hitting 102 if it closes above 100. Okay, cool. Also, retracements are not guaranteed. Of course, because we have been in that consolidation. Potentially DXY is in like a breakout mode, especially with the kind of the boosting of Fed interest rate. I think that's started this new trend. Yeah, we might see shallow pullbacks as well. And again, that's a part of trading. Sometimes deep pullbacks, sometimes not. It's up to you how you want to trade that. But yeah, I'm in full agreement with that. If we do see a strong close above 100.2, we could be looking at a bit of a bottom there for the dollar. Lighter, what's up, my man? I hope you're doing good. What it do? How the markets? Markets are they're moving, to be honest. The markets are moving. I'm just looking for some pullbacks. I've got a couple of markets which I'm keeping a close eye on, which I'll go through shortly. I just want to go through the rest of the USD pairs first. But yeah, especially USD. I mean, I'm liking the price action with USD. We're seeing really nice intention. USD is very strong, so I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's just lack of opportunities in terms of pullbacks. I'm going to have to scale right down to the 15 if I want to find myself a trade, probably for this week. Maybe next week we come into a different cycle and deeper pullbacks happen. But this week, yeah, you're probably looking at some intraday opportunities if you're going to take advantage of these moves. Yes, we'll go through dollar yen and Aussie dollar as well. What's up, CS, my man? Hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. Taking a quick short on the DXY intra before I long again. Okay, interesting, CS. I mean, we are quite overextended, so you're looking to take advantage of that pullback, I'm guessing. And you've done well to capitalize on the longs as well, so looks like a little bit of mean reversion before we continue. But yeah, I'm very bullish on the dollar, to be honest, so any downside I just see as a pullback for us to keep buying. Yeah, today is ADP. We do have where is it now? We do have what day is it again today? Yeah, Wednesday. We do have ADP employment change at 115. Consensus is we should be going up from negative 32k to 25k. So that should be good for the dollar. That should boost USD. Of course, we'll see what the actual result is and how price actually reacts, because it's not always black and white like that. But we do have that news event coming out this afternoon. So if you are trading USD, do make sure you keep an eye on that. Anywho, we'll go through. I'll go through dollar yen, Aussie dollar. I'll take a look at pound yen as well, because that is one of the pairs I'm keeping a very close eye on. So in terms of USD JPY, I'm very bullish on this one. I'm just struggling in terms of a good entry, so I haven't managed to jump into the position yet. I was looking at the two previous closes on the 4-hour chart. We've had a nice retest of this zone, which is basically the level I'm looking to buy from this week. The entry in the 4-hour wasn't particularly great. We had a very strong push down, but I don't mind it because, especially when price creates a bit of support just above the level and it kind of flushes that level, then recovers it whilst testing the bigger area, I quite like it. It's like, you know, price finding support, maybe taking out some early buys you got into the market, testing the bigger, more significant area, and then potentially moving in your favor. So I'm just waiting for a bigger shift in momentum for an entry. So a closure above that high would be enough. I'll take an entry like this. If we can break above, stops there, and then initial targets. The only bad thing about this is that risk reward is not premium at all back into that high. The reason why I like it is because I'm expecting price to go a lot further. So it's a situation where if I can take it back to high, great. I can probably start to trail some stops, lock in some gains. Then if we do see a breakout, great. This has the mileage to continue. We potentially have a very strong USD, which could last a while. And we potentially still have a weak yen. I know yen did gain some strength this week, but primarily yen is still on a bearish trend. So if that does continue, we see USD find support and continue, you could be looking at one of the strongest currencies against one of the weaker ones. And that could take us 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of just pure trending behavior. So it's definitely not an opportunity which I don't want to miss, but at the end of the day, I still want to get a good entry that fits my plan well, that I can manage risk with too. So I like the retest. I like how the price action is building up here. It's just the entry just isn't looking particularly great right now in terms of momentum. So wait to see if we can break above the high, maybe a strong close on the next 4-hour candle, which would be closing at 2 p.m. UK time. So that's the next time I'll keep an eye on dollar yen. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish. You could probably scale down to like an intraday chart to try and find a better entry. And try and maximize your risk to reward. So if I drop to like a 50-minute chart, I mean, again, this is looking like a V-shaped reversal, so I'm liking what I'm seeing. Strong bearish move, a lot of consolidation, the flush lower, recovery, and now we're starting to see some higher highs and higher lows. So it does look like dollar yen is starting to point to the upside. I wouldn't be looking for buys just yet in the 15. I think I would want to wait for a strong break of structure here to really show me that okay, the market has well and truly formed this low, and now we're starting to trend bullish on the 15. And then this becomes a really attractive zone for a buy. If we can see some new highs, a pullback, that looks like a really nice opportunity. You can manage risks like this, and suddenly you've got a decent risk reward back into the high. And then of course, if you want to try and push, you can do that too. So there could be an opportunity later on for dollar yen, maybe in the next day or two. In terms of the 15, I mean, probably the next day, to be honest. I wouldn't be looking to buy it just yet. And yeah, I'm not looking to buy it just yet in the 4-hour either. So still waiting for a bit of strength there in the 4-hour to really give me the confirmation to enter. Because if not, we could very much respect. Let me just clear this so it's a bit cleaner. Because if not, price could very much respect this level. And it could very much sell off again. You know, this could just be another lower high in the making, and price can roll over. A break above this high tells me the odds of this being a low high is lower, and we're likely to keep pushing. So dollar yen long still very much in play. The retest of this zone is holding, so that's good. Now I just want to see some emphasis back for the buyers. And then yeah, we'll go to Aussie dollar next, and I'll take a look at GJ, which is also another pair which I'm still just about interested in. It's had a pretty big breakout, but if it does recover, well, it depends how it does recover, so that will justify the entry, but I'm still going to keep an eye out, and we'll go through that momentarily. But in terms of Aussie dollar, this has been sliding to the downside again. I have not been a fan of Aussie dollar at all, to be honest, so I'm not interested in the price action personally. I'm just keeping it very short and sweet. I'm looking at this as a big range. I am, yes, very bullish on the USD. So primarily, you know, I'm looking to short a pair like this, but I'd rather look to short euro, or I'd rather look to short pound. I'd rather look to buy dollar yen. So that's kind of the USD pairs which I want to be trading. Aussie dollar, because of the conditions being so flat, it's just not optimal for how I trade, because if I'm looking for price to pull back and retest structure, you want momentum, you want direction. This does not represent that. So because of that, I would avoid Aussie dollar. You can keep it very simple and just look to short the highs and buy the lows. That's primarily your best locations for opportunities. Because I am pretty bearish on Aussie dollar long term, I would suggest the better opportunity would be either price pushing back to the highs, which maybe at this point in time looks pretty unlikely, or seeing conviction through the low here. And then this would then turn into a high, and then I'll expect us to start trending lower, and I'll be very interested to see if I can take advantage of the pullbacks on the way back down to that low. So it could be a really nice bearish trend in the making here for Aussie dollar. Not confirmed yet, but there is potential, especially if USD and DXY does have that big reversal. So I do sense more downside. It's just the opportunity isn't quite here to trade it. Especially with us on a daily chart coming back into support. You can see the prior wicks price has left here. Now we've made another wick. It's just not the best location for me to be entering shorts. You can maybe get away with it intraday because you're going to be in and out a little bit quicker. You're not looking for such a big move. So I would suggest keep an eye on this high here. There's a nice demand supply zone. If you could push to take out that high, that looks like a smart place for an entry. But again, I wouldn't be greedy and I wouldn't try and push for the home run. Let's say if we do recover from here, that could be like a nice first target for the trade. So yeah, Aussie dollar intraday, you might get away with shorts. Momentum is still very much down. Dollar's still very much strong. So there is probably juice to the downside. It's just conditions I'm not a big fan of. We'll go through pound yen next. LFTG, I'm looking for a deeper retest on UJ. Okay, we can take a look at that as well. Simenish, hope I'm saying that correctly. Pound USD, we'll take a look as well, no problem. Lebsy, what's up, my man? Yes, we can take a look at CAD Swiss as well. So let me just go through pound yen first. So pound yen is very much a pair I was interested in yesterday. I said I was looking to buy it. I just needed price to kind of take out the low, recover it, and then see some entries as we do get the closure back above. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. Price did push down and took out that low, and then it stayed below and it kept falling. And because pound's been so weak, it's been difficult for pound yen to recover. Until this morning, we have seen a bit of strength come back into the market. Yeah, so I'm looking for some entries if we can get a closure back above that level. If we do, that would fit the criteria for me because price has swept the low. I can get entries close to that low as possible. Stops underneath this low. We've also had the added confluence of filling most of that gap as well. So if I could see price close above, I'm very much looking to try and continue this higher time frame trend at play. So I'm still very bullish on pound yen. As I've said, this is the low which my attention is focused around. As long as price can stay above that, I will keep up the bullish bias. Again, if I expand to the weekly as well, you can see the direction for the market is still pointing up. So in terms of confluence, everything is adding to the upside here for pound yen. I know eventually the market's going to tire and look to reverse, of course, but my plan is very much, okay, if a trend still looks relatively healthy, I'm still looking to try and buy that with the expectation of that trend continuing, keeping my risk small, let my winners run. If price does reverse, it reverses, I'll back off. And if I need to, I'll switch my bias around. As of yet, pound yen hasn't done that. So if we do recover back above that low, interested for a long, at the very least back into this area here. But again, I'll be looking for that bigger swing. So pound yen, that's what I'm keeping an eye on. And this is the invalidation point. If price breaks that, then I'll rethink my bias. In terms of UJ, we'll take a look at that deeper area looking for LFTJ. You're looking for 151.9. Let's mark it on the charts. 926. So that's around here. So you're looking for a push back into this demand zone, it looks like. Yeah, that's an effective place for a long as well. Again, my area of interest is this whole area here. So price could potentially pull back anywhere within that zone, and I'll be happy to look for longs, or I'll have the expectation of price bouncing here for the continuation back to highs. At the moment, it looks like we've had a successful retest of the high, so that's why I'm interested now. But if price doesn't break the high here and starts to roll back over and comes deeper, I'm very much still in your camp and I'm still looking for a long. As long as we don't take out this low here. If price does take out that low, then I'm going to have to back away. Because at that point we're seeing deep pullbacks. The uptrend which I was expecting to form is no longer in play. So I would have to rethink the bias there. But yeah, anywhere above that point is a healthy zone. If you look at the daily chart, and look at the candlesticks here, it does encompass everything quite well. So Anywhere within that zone, I am very bullish on dollar yen. So yeah, I agree. But I was trying to see if I can have a stab at the current price, if it does do what I want it to do. And if it comes lower, I'll see if I can find some entries lower. In terms of pound USD, so yeah, pound USD is still absolutely full. No problem, Light and Happy Tail man. In terms of pound USD, still very consistent. It looks like pound is still somewhat weak. We had a bit of strength this morning, but generally still very weak. Of course, USD still very strong, so you have a recipe for a pretty bearish market here. Yeah, I'm pretty bearish on pound, and I said coming to the week, this is a zone which I really like the look of. If we can get a pullback to retest that, I'll be happy to find some entries, but unfortunately, we've just been too bearish this week, so it's difficult to actually find any entries. The best way to be looking for a trade for pound is to scale right down to the 15 and look for these pullbacks intraday. So we had this brief consolidation here. There was a nice spike there, and since that high, we've been absolutely falling. Now we have kind of rounded off a little bit here, so I would wait for a bit more development before looking to short straight away. So I'd look for price to kind of give me a bit more corrective behavior before I do take an entry, because I do risk shorting a little bit too soon. So the direction is still very clear, but I do want us to kind of correct a little bit longer and have a slightly bigger pullback before looking for entries, but the plan will be the same, back to low and further as well. If we're looking for a slightly bigger pullback for GU, there is, of course, the retest of that same consolidation. That would be a nice place for a retest. You've also got the retest of this area here, slight pause. You can see it better if I go to the hourly chart. So slight pause, momentum picked up. It's not the most significant area. I would argue that's the much bigger and significant area. But this, given how aggressive the trend is, could very much give us the retest and the continuation. So those are some zones to keep an eye on for pound. But yeah, extremely bearish on this one. And until I see evidence of reversal or us slowing down, I'll let you guys know. But at the moment, this is a market which is trending very, very well. Okay, so we'll go through CAD CHF next for Lebsy. Let me know what you're looking at as well on CAD Swiss. Any Indians here? Yeah, there probably would be. I do have a lot of Indian subscribers on the channel. NFTJ, what's up? The way many trades are hunting for buy entry on UJ, it might just be sent to the moon. Sellers, I know, just chilling at 160. Yeah, true. You could get that overcrowdingness. Of everyone looking at the same idea, the effectiveness of the idea might decrease. Again, if you just look at a move in isolation and probabilities, especially with how liquid the markets are, like UJ, it's going to take a lot of people looking to trade the same idea for it to really affect the market, especially from a retail aspect. Of course, bigger players wouldn't need as much. But yeah, potentially we could see price flush down a couple of times before it does continue. The markets do that all the time. I always stay patient to that. I have my zone mapped out for UJ. If it does violate that zone, I'll step away. But if it can retain that zone, I am very, very bullish. Expecting a lot more upside. Raphael, is it a good place to long silver in the hour? We can go and take a look. I haven't really been looking to buy silver this week, but we shall take a look. NAS 100, we'll go through that as well, no problem. Hey, what's up, Usman? No way, born in Rwanda, born and raised. It would be great if we can link up. Of course, man, I'll probably do, because there's actually quite a few people that are regulars of the channel from Rwanda, so I could do a little meetup with people living in Rwanda that follow the channel, to be honest. So yeah, I'll probably organize that in the next month or so. So I would say follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. My handle is in the description. It's just basically my name, Miko Audu FX at the end. But hope you're doing good. What's up? Hope you're good. Good morning, Lorraine. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Remy from India. I told you. Okay, so we'll go through CAD Swiss first, and then we'll take a look at silver, and we'll go through NASDAQ as well. And of course, any other requests, any pairs you're looking at, drop it down in the chat, and we shall take a look-see. But in terms of CAD Swiss, of course, this is a market which overall is still very much in a very bearish trend. So I'm looking to maintain that short bias with CAD Swiss, looking to short highs and take profit at lows. However, we've had a pretty aggressive pullback here, so I'm being a bit more cautious. We haven't broken structure yet, so there's no cause for panic. If we do take out this high, then I'll be very cautious about selling CAD Swiss, because that would be a break of structure, and that would make me rethink my bias there. Well, not rethink the bias. The bias would still be down. It's just maybe we do have a bit of a counter trend move before we continue at a later date. So it would just make me kind of back away a bit. But for now, CAD CHF is still pointing down. In terms of opportunities, you want to see price hold on to this zone here. Now, in terms of entries and how price is moving, I'm not the biggest fan. It's quite an impulsive move. Price swept the high, retested it, continued, swept that high, was far too bullish to even come back to retest this zone. Now it's looking a bit more corrective, but still respecting support. So this has been a pretty strong move. Even if we do have a drop, I would say you need to watch out for this zone. We could still very much find buyers here and look to continue. This has been a very impulsive leg. I like my pullbacks to be a bit more corrective, especially when we're kind of close to the end of a trend, or not necessarily end, but a trend has been going on for a while. So I want to make sure it's still healthy. If I'm getting some red flags and I know a trend's gone on for a while, I'm always going to be a bit more patient. So yeah, with CAD CHF approaching this high here, let's see what type of price action we can get. I would say if you're looking for like a quick mean reversion trade, a quick short, you probably be able to find one as price pushes back into this high here. So if it does reject well, you might catch a bit of a drop. I wouldn't be looking for this move in one go. I think that's very optimistic. Of course, you do have the higher time frame selling pressure on your side, but still, it's been such an aggressive pullback, shorting at the highs there. The odds of you catching the high that gives us this low is pretty slim still, even though you're pro trend. So if you're looking for like a quick scalp, not even scalp, but day trade, this is actually a nice place for a short. It's just I wouldn't be looking to hold on for it too long, again, because of how powerful we've been. And if you're looking for some buys, this is a nice zone for a long. It is still quite aggressive because it's counter trend, but I like the way price is consolidated, really impulsive push to the upside, hasn't come back for a retest, so this is still a fresh zone for a buy. So buys do look good here. The only downside is your counter trend, and again, it's a very aggressive bearish trend. So if you don't really like going counter trend, I wouldn't trade this. If you like going pro trend, you do have yourself a little short opportunity there, but I would be careful. And then of course, if you do break structure, we'll reanalyze and go again. We'll go through silver for Raphael, then we'll take a look at NASDAQ as well. Yes, we can take a look at dollar yen as well, no problem. Almost healed, just stuck. What's going on? I've been thinking how I'm going to get this work for me. Please kindly help. If you're talking about trying to get trading, making sense and working, the biggest weapon you have in your arsenal is your own trading data metrics journal. if you're not tracking what you're doing, then there's no progress there. So I would recommend, if you're very stuck and you need a path to follow, what you need to do is, if you go check out my recent video, 10,000 hours, go check out that video, because I give like a plan at the end of the video of how to structure your trading to make sure you're on a path and you're going to improve on that path. But to sum it up, basically, pick a method, a technique. So pullbacks, mean reversion, reversals, breakouts, break and retest. Pick an idea and a hypothesis of the market, and then pick a way you're going to enter the market. Keep this very, very simple, almost too simple. And then have a stop loss idea of how you're going to manage your exits if it's losing, and have a management idea of how you're going to manage it if it is winning. And then what you need to do is go and back test that same idea at least 100 times. So you got 100 trades. Don't worry about the win rate, the risk to reward. Just have that idea back tested, because what that will do is it will provide you a floor. It will provide you a base of how sustainable that idea is. And then basically, a lot of trading is just about refining and tweaking and adapting. If you're seeing yourself get stopped out a lot, well, experiment with widening the stop. If you see yourself not holding on to winners long enough, or experiment with bigger TPs or trading stops. If you can see that price often stops you out, then reverses, try and enter a little bit later. This is literally how you're going to grow as a trader. You're not going to come across a magic pattern that someone's going to show you that you're just going to start trading and everything's going to look rosy. That's very rarely the case. A lot of traders who have a lot of experience at very, very high levels, they will have traded the same style or similar styles over long periods of time, and they've got really, really good at that style. Of course, when they started, they'll be rubbish pretty much, but as you get better, and as you journal, as you measure your performance, you tweak and refine and you improve, because you can't improve what you don't measure. If you're not measuring your trading, then you have no idea of where you need to improve. No idea. So back test, create that base, take it into live, and take it from there. Keep the risk very small. Only increase risk when you're seeing some consistency in your favor. But I would recommend go check out my 10,000 hours video, because I go in a bit more detail. Anywho, we'll go through silver, then we'll take a look at NAS 100. So in terms of silver, silver I'm not looking to buy, to be honest. Again, the long-term trend, I'm still very much on board that cautiously, because if I scale to the monthly and show you guys where we're trading, this is not really a place where, am I on the right? This is not really a place, am I on the log? There we go. This is not really a place where I want to be looking for any big long-term trend ideas. There's a lot of momentum right now to the upside for silver, especially if you're a bit more intraday, intra-week. You're still trying to take advantage of that upside momentum. But look where we're positioned on silver. The prior spike back in the 80s, massive reversal. Next spike, that was 2011, big push down, another big spike, 2025. Would it be so surprising to see that happen? Absolutely not. So I'm not looking to be so aggressive with the longs on silver based on where we're located. Yes, if momentum picks up, I don't mind looking for some intraday or intra-week buys, but I know where I'm positioned and I'm going to be very cautious to that. Equally, if the market does start to see some heavy selling pressure, I don't mind holding onto that sell for a little while, to be honest. Of course, I'll be taking profit along the way. I'm not looking for that big of a move. This is the monthly chart. After all, let me actually get the watermark there. This is the monthly chart, so I'm not looking for a complete reversal. But context is everything. And based on where we're trading, if you're looking for any long-term swing to the upside, be careful. And if anything, there's a bit more room to the downside. So I'm not really interested in buys. If I'm looking to buy dolly, I've got dolly in the brain. If I'm looking to buy silver, it's because we've seen an aggressive move like this, breaking structure, and now structure's pointing up. So here I wouldn't mind for a buy. at least back to the highs there. Maybe price makes its way back to the high. You never know. Maybe we've still got a bit more room to the upside. I'm never really one to try and call tops. All I can do is look at context. So there could still be more room to the upside, but this would be a much better opportunity, waiting for us to actually create some bullish structure, break resistance, and then perhaps maybe even coming back to retest it. That's something I could be happy with along on the hourly chart, the 4-hour chart, you name it. Buying here, yeah, we are coming back into a bit of a zone to the left here, but I can't be confident about any meaningful move here for silver. It might be a slight bounce, but it could be a situation where, that happens. You catch a nice bounce for a few candles and then it rolls over. So yeah, I would be careful with longs for silver. I wouldn't take any unless we break the high. And in terms of the Nasdaq, we've had a bit of a down move. We broke through the gap, so the gap didn't really provide much of a bounce. I mean, it did have a little bit of a push up. You can see the wick there. If I scale to like a 15-minute chart, you'll see a bit better. So the gap did provide some of a bounce, but again, not enough to see us really push through. So dropping back to the 4-hour chart, I said if the gap doesn't hold, now this becomes the area of focus. We've had an initial tap there, but I have to say, we are pretty bearish here. There's a lot of momentum here. Typically, I want my price action on a pullback to be a bit more corrective. Let's say if this is an impulse leg, I want price to be looking like this on the way down, because then I can position myself here, take advantage of that reversal. Maybe if price gets the breakout, I'm looking really good back to the highs. Worst case scenario, price does that, I can still profit on that move. I mean, the true worst case scenario would be a stop loss there, of course, but at least I'm positioned well for the move. Because it's so aggressive, trying to catch the lows here, you're leaving yourself quite unprotected, and the risk of just price flushing through to your stop loss is far greater. So I do want to see price start to correct a bit more for the Nasdaq. It's a nice zone, but again, zones don't always hold. Zone's just the reference point. It's how price behaves in that area which will dictate if there's an entry or not. So I do want to see us become a bit more corrective, and then there could be some nice longs later this week or maybe early next week, but that's a zone to keep an eye on. I'm still very bullish on the Nasdaq, so I'm not looking to short. I understand maybe some intraday shorts, because there's a lot of momentum, even a push back to the high here, maybe for like a 5-minute short. That could be a nice little opportunity there. I'm still not the biggest fan of that, just because in a bullish climate, the Nasdaq, S&P, Dow Jones, they always just push higher. So my mentality is just keep buying. Don't forget about the shorts. When the markets are in the bearish climate and they're seeing lower lows and lower highs on the daily chart, I can take shorts then, but I'd rather just put the odds in my favor and stick with the longs. So that's kind of where I'm at with Nasdaq. I'll go through dollar yen next as well. Good morning, Precious. Hope you're doing good. Welcome. Yes, we can go through the other indices as well, no problem. Usman, no problem. Of course. Check out my Instagram. You can DM me there. Yes, we will go through dollar yen. Ade, please do not, or Michelle, please do not spam the chat at other people here. If I don't see it, you can do it again, but I did say I'll do dollar yen. No problem, Leslie, happy to help. No problem, almost healed, happy to help. I mean, again, trading can be a very messy place. It can be a very kind of difficult place to solve, but what I've learned from trading is that you need to have a plan of action. You need to be measuring everything, because especially with discretionary trading, people can be a bit too discretionary sometimes, kind of making things up as you go along, or you like this, you don't like that. That can be a good benefit to a trade, a bit of intuition, a bit of kind of feeling of the market. That's a good thing to use, but in, what's the word I'm looking for? Forget the word. Within reason. You know, you don't want to be so discretionary, which you don't even know what you're doing. It's just whatever feels right. Maybe some people can be profitable off that, but I know for the average person who's going to have a lot of psychological pressure, stress, fear, greed, all of that's going to come into play. Having a concrete plan and a plan which you can measure is just going to provide so much consistency for you. And you know exactly where you're going wrong as well. Okay, so we'll go take a look at dollar yen before Michelle explodes. Again, dollar yen is a pair which I'm looking to trade, but I'm going to have to be very cautious with dollar yen because I need momentum to pick up before I do find an entry. If not, I will look for a deeper pullback. So this is basically the zone I'm looking for an entry on dollar yen. I'll go through the indices next, Precious. So this is the zone I'm looking for an entry in dollar yen, and we've come back for the retest of that zone. And essentially all I'm looking for is price to retest and then continue back to highs. However, on this retest, we're struggling at structure here. You know, this is our high which gave us that push, that big bearish candle. Price has now made a move back into that resistance and we're starting to struggle. So when I do want to take my entries, I like taking entries where momentum's back in my favor. So if we've got a nice corrective push down into support level, I see momentum really step in, that shows to me that, okay, the buys are back in control and now we're likely to push through. We've seen two kind of okay sized 4-hour candles, but the key thing is resistance is still doing its job. So until that breaks, I'm going to refrain from entries. This 4-hour candle's still got 3 hours left, so I'm not going to read too much into that candle because a lot can change. But let's say if price doesn't hold this and does push down, then I would look for a deeper move inside this zone, anywhere basically between 153 and 151.6 would be an adequate zone for me to buy from. You can see basically it's just this demand zone on the daily chart. Nice push, we paused, consolidated for a few days, then eventually a pretty smooth breakout. So yeah, dollar yen for me still super bullish, looking for entries. Nothing quite here yet. It's the only yen pair which I'm looking for entries, which is not a bad thing. I just want to make sure the yen is still going to stay weak. And I'm looking at the correlated markets. Of course, I know what USD is doing. USD is so bullish, so I don't have to worry about the USD correlation side of things. The yen I'm going to have to be a bit careful with. I mean, we'll go through some yen crosses and see how they're doing. Okay, so we'll go through some of the indices. And, okay, the gap was your entry point on NAS, took a small loss. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't trade gaps, to be honest, so I don't really have much edge around gaps. Of course, I know the theory behind it. You know, gaps, you expect them to fill and you expect them to hold a support as well, or resistance, depends which way you're trading. But I've never really built a strategy around gaps, so yeah, I've just never... It's because they don't really happen that often in FX, and FX is my bread and butter, so... They do happen from time to time in FX, but not enough for me to build a whole strategy around it. It's not frequent enough. So yeah, I don't really have much kind of finite information I can parlay with gaps. Of course, I just keep an eye on them in terms of my, you know, just observation of the market, but it's not something I trade myself. Maybe when I get a bit more into the indices, I start to build a plan around gaps because, of course, the indices, the gaps are far more frequent than the FX. And to be honest, most other markets, to be honest, it's just FX markets are so liquid. You know, gaps are not as common. So maybe I will develop a plan around gaps. But yeah, I don't really have one at the moment. Okay, so we'll go through the indices. No problem, almost healed, happy to help. Antonio looked at the monthly time. No, I have not looked at the monthly time frame. We can take a look at that though. Mark, NFP on government shutdown. No, there won't be any. It doesn't look like there'll be NFP this week. It looks like the government is still in shutdown mode. I had a look at the economic calendar. It still says tentative, which basically means not likely to be a news event on Friday. So yeah, it doesn't look like NFP is going to be coming out this week. TP dollar yen 157. You're in a trade on dollar yen 157. That's around there. Looking for a pretty big move. I mean, I'm looking for a pretty big move as well. I mean, at least I want price to get back to the high. Then I'll start to discuss the 156s, the 157s. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish on dollar yen too. In terms of, we just spoke about the Nasdaq, and I'll quickly sum up what I was referring to there. So Nasdaq coming to a nice zone. The only thing I don't like about Nasdaq is we're coming in with some fire. I need price to be a bit more corrective here, or it can just bounce, maybe form a double bottom, sweep the low. That will be a nice trade idea as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be just corrective. It can find support, bounce, come back, and then I take the trade. But I don't want to be the first one in trying to catch the falling knife. That's basically something I always try to avoid. So I like this zone here, really nice breakout. This is the first time we're essentially going back to retest. So looking for longs in this area. It's too early to say if price will hold or if there's a good entry yet. Price has just literally tapped the level and looks like it's coming back in again. I think on the intraday basis, there could be some nice shorts back at the highs here to ride it down if you're looking to try and go counter trend or with the current trend actually. But if you're looking for longs, I think just keep an eye on this zone. It could start to develop over the next maybe 2-3 days, but nothing quite here just yet for the Nasdaq. In terms of Dow Jones, now Dow Jones, I like it a little bit more because it's a bit more corrective. It's a bit slower. It's not as aggressive, so it's taking its time. This one also is coming back into a nice demand zone, which is this zone here, which gave us this rally. And you can see the move down has been a lot slower, a lot more flat or angled, which means more corrective behavior, not seeing as much selling pressure. So there are some nice aggressive entries that could settle here for the Dow Jones. And when I mean aggressive, I mean trying to pick the lows here a little bit, but you're seeing price have some strength, so it's not completely blind. So what I would say for US 30, keep an eye on this low here. If price can have another rally back into the low, recover it, I think that's a nice place for a buy. But the management of that trade has to be on point, because you don't want to be in a situation where you take the buy and then you kind of just let price do its thing, because basically you do have bearish structure against you. So as price takes out the low, you expect a recovery, but we very well could form a lower high and another lower low. So the plan with the trade is, if you do catch a nice reaction here and price does rip in your favor, you want to start looking to trail that stop loss as price continues, because you don't want to be there, back here again. That just means you take another re-entry as we sweep the next low. So that will be a new trade altogether. So as you take the sweep here, then you're looking for price to push up, and then if you can break structure, then you're looking really good, because you've got an entry right at the low, you've got price breaking structure in your favor, and then you're expecting higher highs and higher lows. So it's a way of trying to catch the low of the pullback while still being in favor of the higher time frame trend, and pretty much looking to maximize risk to reward. It's a bit aggressive because of course this could always still fall, so it's important you wait for the recovery. But that for me is a smart idea there for US 30. Keep risk pretty small, and if things go well, especially given the climate of US 30, it's still very much in a bullish trend. Let's not get it twisted. Yes, we've seen a couple or a few bearish days here, but look at the bigger picture. This is still very much a market which is trending to the upside. So it'd be nice if it could load. There is very much still a market trending to the upside. So we're still expecting a push back to highs, if not higher highs. So US 30, nice opportunity there as well. You mentioned the JP225 as well. haven't actually kept an eye on this one. Okay, interesting. So that kind of does explain why the yen pairs have been so bearish, because we saw the yen index gain or lose some strength. Sorry. So naturally the yen's going to increase in strength. But again, if I expand to the higher time frames, has anything changed significantly? No. For me, this is still a very bullish market, very consistent with the higher highs and higher lows, very consistent with break and retest as well. Pretty much retesting almost every zone. Did it retest this zone here? No, not quite. It came back to test that zone. Of course, came back to test that high there. Didn't really come back to test this one. It came back to test there. Came back to test there. Came back to test there as well. So I quite like the price action there. You don't always get that with a trend. Normally you get like a big swing. You might get a retest and then the next 2 or 3 won't do like a textbook retest. Here's like almost every pullback has a textbook retest here. So just providing opportunities to long it basically. And we've repeated that same price action again. Of course, eventually the trend's going to hit a top and it's going to have some type of counter trend. Maybe this is it. We don't know. But you have to trade what's in front of you. And so far, it's still a very bullish market. So as long as we can maintain this area and don't break structure, I'll keep up that bullish bias. I don't want to see us break underneath that zone because that would be a change in its character, because price has always been maintaining these higher lows. If it breaks through, something's changed and it won't be as bullish anymore. So it's important we stay above this zone, which is what, 49k roughly. Equally so, intraday, because of all this momentum, there might be some shorts to look into if you're up for going counter trend. Again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with going counter trend. It's just you have to be aware of the situation at play. If you're going counter trend, you're not there to look for the home run. You're not there to try and push the trade that far. The reason why you're going counter trend is because maybe momentum is picked up in the opposite direction. In terms of risk to reward, that could present a nice opportunity, and you're there to be in and out. You always want to be pro trend. As a retail trader, we don't start waves, we can ride them. So you predominantly want to be looking to follow the trends, but if you can find a counter trend opportunity here and there, you can either reduce risk, reduce your take profit, be a bit more aggressive in terms of the management, and that could be a profitable way around it. So if you are interested, let's see how price gets here. If it's nice and corrective, that could be a smart place for a short. Equally so, this is a nice place for a long, but I'm not the biggest fan of this because we've come in so aggressively. So it's like, okay, if you've caught the low here, congrats. If not, I kind of want price to slow down a little bit, and then we see what we can do at this low. There might be a nice recovery there, or it might start to form a bit more of like a consolidation before we do take off. Because if you look at prior pullbacks, like this was nice and corrected. This is like my textbook pullback. This is how I want all my pullbacks to look like. Of course, they don't always, but again, when you get pullbacks corrected like this, all you're looking to do is for price to sweep the low. And this is where you're looking for your entries. Lovely move to the upside, and you've got the added benefit of price retesting structure. This pullback here is scary. It's difficult to deal with. I don't really trade these type of pullbacks because it's always like, it's difficult to catch that low. And even if you do catch the recovery, now your stop loss is pretty big as well. So it's just a bit awkward. So yeah, textbook pullbacks, easy to kind of manage, map out. You're not going to win all of them, but there's a lot of opportunity with these type of pullbacks. Here, aggressive. Here again, super corrective. You can see it takes out that prior low. That's where you're looking for your opportunities. As price recovers it, you can get a very small, tidy risk there. A lot of upside opportunity. And all you're doing is take advantage of the current trend, which is super bullish here. This looks like another textbook pullback as well. If it loads, as you sweep. Again, this is an example of where you get into a nice buy, and then price will recover, but not quite enough to see the new high. So in this case, you want to be trailing your stop as price picks up momentum. Because the whole point of an entry is here is that you're right at the low. So if price was to push and come back down, you'd rather look for re-entry rather than stay in the original trade. So you do want to make sure you're trading as you go along. So that entry doesn't play out. Then if you look at this entry, that doesn't really give much of a reaction. As we take out that low, then you've got your move. It'd be nice if this low correlated a bit more with like a retest of that area. But yeah, these are the pullbacks I like to trade. This here, scary, and we've got another one of those here too. So I want price to kind of consolidate, start to find support, and then I can map out a better trade. But yeah, as long as we hold this zone, I'm still bullish. Break underneath, then I will, again, I won't be bearish on the Japanese index. It's going to take a lot for me to be bearish on this market, but a break of that structure will make me pause at least. Okay, so where was I? Okay, yeah, I'll go through DXY in the monthly Antonio. Do you think it will retest 153 and sell massively? Are you talking about dollar yen? We can go through that. What's up, DM? Switch my analysis from yen longs to yen shorts. Interesting. Are you trading intraday? Because I think if you're intraday, it makes sense. And also, which yen currency pair are you looking to trade? Because that's important as well. Because shorting dollar yen is completely different to shorting like pound yen or New Zealand yen. What's up, Sultani? God bless you too, my man. I hope you're doing good. If you guys are enjoying the content, by the way, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Share it with your friends, and check out the channel memberships if you're interested. There's members only videos there, trade ideas, which I do post when I do take the positions. So if you're interested, check them out if you haven't done so already. But I'll go take a look at the DXY monthly chart. Then okay, Euro yen shorts. Okay, Euro yen. Don't mind Euro yen shorts. Is it intraday you're looking at? Because I can get behind that. I'm still very much bullish Euro yen high time frames, but I think we can probably see some downside intraday. Okay, so we'll go take a look at DXY monthly. No way shorting dollar right now. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I don't think dollar yen's the best short. Look at us, we're just absolutely flying right now. Anyway, so monthly chart DXY. To be honest, we did have the monthly close last week, so I was looking at pretty much all the markets on the monthly time frame to see what October has brought us. The key takeaway from October is just that we are really struggling to break this low. We had the bearish push here in June, bullish engulfing July, we came back down August, September respected it, and then again another bullish month October. So really support is holding, but we basically have the consolidation there. So if we can get maybe like a close like this in November, that could really set up not just a strong end to the year, but maybe a strong start to next year as well. We could be seeing price do something like that, maybe start to push back towards resistance here if we get a strong close, because we back above support here too. This is a big consolidation, prices broke underneath it. Maybe this breakout was just a big fake out. If we do see some conviction in the close back above this low, that could take us back to 106, 107, 108, maybe even higher. So that could mean a very bullish start to 2026, which I wouldn't mind, because that means I've got my plan mapped out. And as a swing trader, you're just buying the dips really. And even day trading, you're buying the dips as well, but maybe looking for some counter trend opportunities in the meantime. So it's going to be an interesting month of November. But I say with the biggest takeaway of October and generally on the monthly chart is consolidation really. So we are approaching resistance here, which is why a break of it is going to be so important, and a rejection of it is going to be important too. I do feel like we'll get the breakout, to be honest. My anticipation sensors are going off. I do think price can break through, but we'll see. But yeah, in terms of the shorts on the yen pairs, so you spoke about euro yen. Yeah, I wouldn't look to short dollar yen. I don't think that's the best yen pair if you're looking to short. Euro yen, not bad. I would say pound yen looks really good just because pound's been so much weaker than euro. Of course, if you briefly look at euro pound here, euro pound has been on a one-way street to the upside, so the shorts on pound yen might be a bit more fruitful currently, but equally so, euro has been on the weaker side too, and euro yen's has had a decent sell-off too. So I do think intraday you can still find a bit more juice to the downside, but I would be cautious because, again, let's not forget, higher time frames are still pointing up. So if you're looking to short, euro yen, I understand that, but I would keep it short and sweet because we haven't really broken any crucial structure. I know price is taken out this low, but what is this one candle in reference to all of this? This is baby food. This is nothing. That bearish candle means nothing to me compared to this trend, which is why market structure is really where my focus is. Higher highs and higher lows, what the general trend is at play. So if we were to see price go and break through this, again, I would say that's a much more significant break and I would be more inclined for shorts. But I probably wouldn't be looking for a push to 173. Maybe if you do break that low, I can be a bit more confident 173. Now I wouldn't be as confident as well. So my bias for the yen, as long as we still maintain this zone, is still going to be looking for this to happen. Of course, maybe price does change direction, we break structure, maybe that's the case. But I've always want to be pro momentum, pro trend until it's really proven itself not to. Because there's been so many times, especially my past trading career, where I've anticipated a reversal just because it looks like price is slowing down, but the trend just continued another 500 pips. So I learned a long time ago, just stick with momentum until it's really proven not to be that. Yeah, that's the case. So 173, I don't mind that. If we break this low, then yeah, I would be pretty confident not pretty confident, but I would expect us to head lower. Here's still very much a zone which can take us higher. So that's why I said intraday I think is a better opportunity because price has been falling pretty aggressively over the past few days here. So intraday actually kind of makes sense to be shorting. Probably not the best trade right now, to be honest. Maybe you can get away with a quick short at the high there. I'll keep that short and sweet. You're basically just trading a range. I'm not a fan of this pullback, it's quite violent. Based on the yen basket going up, yeah, even the yen basket too is still pointing very much down in terms of trend and market structure. I know again we've had a bullish day yesterday, but again that bullish day yesterday has no merit in terms of market direction. This one bullish candle here doesn't change all of this, because you could have had the same saying about this candle here, or about that candle there, or about this candle there, and you can see the market still remains in that dominant trend. Of course, at one point we will form that candle that does reverse, but it's so hard to predict when that candle's gonna happen, or if that is the candle, just in terms of pure probability. So because of that, I would stay with the bearish bias, use market structure quite a lot. If price does invalidate these highs, then yeah, I can be a lot more confident about a reversal. Of course, you'd be in a bit later, true. You'd be in later too. So of course, if you try and anticipate reversals here, you'd be at a better price than looking for reversals here. But you can be a lot more confident. You'd be so much more confident because you've got that break of structure. And even break of structure is not perfect either, but it's going to help put the market a bit more in your favor. Because again, we're not here to call direction. A lot of people get confused that traders are here to predict where the market's going to go. The market can go wherever it wants to go. I have no idea where the market's going to go. As a trader, you should get really, really good at just making educated decisions. based on probability. Get really good at that. So the market can go left, right, up, down, whatever. It's just really educated decisions based on history, based on probability, based on circumstance. Worrying about if price is going to reverse or not, you'll be worrying until you go to bed at night, and you'll still be worrying trying to sleep. And I've done that many times. Also short Aussie dollar. Yeah, Aussie dollar's not a bad short, to be honest, because momentum is picking up with USD. So you're seeing that natural strength there. Aussie is a bit on the weaker side of things at the moment as well. I don't like the condition of the market, but you do have USD helping you out massively there. So shorts and Aussie, not a bad idea. Jay Huntley, what's up, my man? Yen, okay, yeah, we'll take a look at the JPY as well, no problem. Andre, what's up, man? Hope you're well. Could pound USD go to 1.295 for a possible reversal? We'll discuss that. No problem, DM. Again, that's where experience comes into play. My experience is such a big teacher, because it's so easy to get lost with every price action. And again, I've been there, lost many times. You see a big candle on the daily, like, okay, this is going up now, and then it doesn't. Of course, eventually, one candle, it will go up, but that's just one moment out of the trend. Every other moment before that has just been following the trend. So you don't want to get lost in the source, and that's where planning comes into play, and having strict rules, because that will keep you in one direction, because your emotions will take you wherever your emotions want to take you, and most of the time it's not a good place. But yeah, before we do go through pound yen and pound USD, I do want to mention our Perps platform. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go and do so. This is the Perps platform we've been working on for the past few months. It allows you to trade Perps on the platform. And again, if you're not familiar with Perps, it's similar to futures, except the contracts don't expire, hence the name Perps, perpetual. Similar to trade CFDs, you're speculating on price, buying with the expectation that price will go higher, you profit on the difference. Same thing with shorts as well. So very, very similar. But the beauty of the platform is that everything is decentralized. So you don't have to worry about restrictions, you don't have to worry about restrictions globally. Everyone's welcome to trade the platform. You don't have to worry about dealing with a middleman, dealing with a broker, trying to request payouts. Everything is done instant. There's no verification to request the payout. It's your money, it's your currency that you trade with. You withdraw that straight away. So if you're interested in trading Perps or looking to get in and start with it and learn more, great platform to start with. Again, you can trade live, you can trade demo as well. So if you just want to test it out for free, it's free to use as well. I've dropped the link in the chat, it's pinned as well, so you can't miss it. And there's some AI features as well, which we're working on, which will provide you setups, support resistance levels, sentiment analysis. Be like your personal assistant. Can say that properly. So yeah, if you're interested, check it out, guys. Completely free to use. Wow, I'm looking very bright right now. I've kind of missed the cue because I've been fiddling with my camera to make sure that the ISO settings and the lighting is correct, and it was correct, but then the sun's come out. So yeah, I'm still getting used to my new settings, so do bear with me. Anyway, we'll take a look at pound yen and pound USD next. So yeah, with pound yen, as I mentioned, one of the yen pairs I'm keeping a close eye on. I do prefer dollar yen. I think just that natural USD strength is going to help out dollar yen massively. Pound yen is still pretty bearish, so not pound yen, sorry, pound is still pretty bearish, so I have to watch out for that. But yeah, I did say last stream yesterday that if price can basically sweep this low and then recover it, I'll look for the buy on the regain, on the reclaim of the level. Not the case so far. Price is trading below the level, and of course, perhaps still wants to sell off. If that's the case, I'll stay away. But if we do close confidently back above this low, I'll look for entries in that area, stops underneath the low, initial targets here, and if things go very well, targets over there, and if things go very, very well, If trading view will load, yeah, there we go. Today, there we go. Everything's going very well. A push all the way up there as this trend does continue. So there is a lot of upside here for pound yen, which is why I'm very interested with it. But yeah, as price does stay underneath this low, if it does continue lower here, I will stay away. And if it takes out this low, that's invalidation for me. That's where I would say, okay, sit up my hands, rethink the bias, let's see what structure does afterwards, and then, you know, we'll map that out as we continue. But keeping things very, very simple, you know, this is our low, which creates this high. And you can see we've been super corrective. Every time we create a new low, price will sweep it and then recover. Sweep it, recover. Sweep it, and then recover. I actually missed this entry last week because of the Fed interest rate. I decided to not take the trade because we literally had the Fed interest rate within an hour. So I was like, that's a little bit too close for my liking. But you can see every time we do create a low, we recover it. That's where I want to find my entries. And in this case, the same here as well, except in this situation, it might generally be a breakout of the low and price might be heading down. So I'm gonna have to watch out for that. But we'll see if we can recover it. And then the focus will be at that low. So yeah, that's the theme, that's the plan there for pound yen. Still very much looking to buy. And again, if I show you why I do have that bias, is because of what the day is going to do. You want to have a time frame for, especially if you're a very technical trader like myself, you want to have a higher time frame, at least the 4 hour, preferably the daily at least. I use the daily, but at least the 4 hour. You don't have like a higher time frame as an hour chart, because yeah, hour chart is very fickle as well, very exposed to news as well and fluctuation. At least 4 hour, you got a bit more rigidness. Daily, very rigid, and even higher, more rigid as well. But you want to have a time frame for direction, a time frame for execution. That way you can be very systematic with your trades. So your direction time frame is where you come up with your ideas, your bias, where you want to buy and sell. Then your execution time frame is where you scale down to maximize your risk reward and actually look for your entries and plot your risk and plot your management. For me, that's primarily the daily and the 4 hour, but recently I have been a bit more intraday and I've used hourly 15-minute chart as well, which I'm still experimenting with. But daily is always just a great place to start. It's slow, it encompasses every day's worth of price action, and it takes a while for this to reverse. And because of that, it means you can just be very trustworthy with its direction. And if it does reverse, you can be pretty trustworthy in that reversal as well. 15, 5 minute, they will reverse, chop around. 1 minute, they'll chop around all the time. You can't really trust that. Execution wise, yeah, sure, you can find an entry, but in terms of direction, you want it to be a high time frame. Andre, yes. Oh, do we have UK interest rates tomorrow? What day is it today? It's the 5th. Yes, we do. Wait, 2 p.m. Am I seeing that correctly? No, 12. Why is it saying 2? Oh, okay. That's referring to a different time zone. Yeah, we do have Bank of England tomorrow. Previous rates 4%, consensus 4% as well. So rates not expected to budge. We'll see if they do or not. But yeah, if you're trading pound, that's obviously an event to keep a very close eye on and watch like a hawk, because that will be a big pillar in the direction. Because pound's been falling for about 2 weeks. Pound's been falling, and pound USD is the best. Pound USD is the best market to show that, because USD hasn't been strong for the past 2 weeks. It's been strong for the past week or so. But pound, since the high here, 17th of October has just been heading down, and pretty much all pound pairs showing similar price action. So now that we're coming to a major event, it's like, okay, is this going to be an event that will slow this down, accelerate this, or reverse it? Yeah, an interest rate decision can do any of those three pretty easily. The key thing about pound USD is that the main driver of pound USD is always going to be the dollar. So even if pound's very strong, USD is still the main driver here. So if USD probably likely be the stronger currency, or it might just pause for a bit, and then eventually when pound weakens, we'll see the predominant trend continue. So I'm very much still bearish for pound USD, pretty much despite what happens with the interest rates tomorrow. But what will happen though if, let's say, rates are raised? To be honest, if rates are raised and let's say pound is very strong, that's a good thing for me, because that means we'll probably get a pullback for pound, and that will actually give me the opportunity to short it later on, because I'm expecting USD to be the predominant driver of the market, the USD strength. So if pound does gain some strength, it will allow me to keep shorting. If of course pound is weak upon the news, then we're just going to see price keep dropping, and then the only way to trade this will just be some lower time frame pullbacks on the 15, maybe even lower than that, to actually find some trades, because you're not going to get the big pullback. So yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on that news event, especially because I'm looking to trade pound yen, so that's going to be interesting. But I mean, to be honest, I'm not too sure I'll get an entry. It's not looking likely, to be honest, so I probably won't have to worry too much about that. But in terms of pound pairs I'm interested in, I'm also interested in pound Aussie too. I really like this pair. Wrong one. I really like this pair. I do see a lot of mileage to the downside. It looks to me that price has tried multiple attempts to try and continue this uptrend. You know, every time we try to see some force, it comes back down, comes back down, comes back down. So because of this, I'm now expecting more downside. We've got some key areas I'm looking for price to get to, and preferably it'd be nice to get a retest as well. So I would love to see some pound strength come into the market, because that will give us a pullback for all the weakness we've seen in the past couple of weeks here. And even pound CAD as well. I forgot to mention pound CAD. Even pound CAD, this has been super bearish. And this one as well, I've been looking for some pullbacks. Unfortunately, just haven't seen a pullback come into play, because we've been so bearish. But if we can get to that zone, that'd be a great place to short as well. So yeah, the news will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the employment change this afternoon as well. That's scheduled at 1:15? Yeah, 1:15. We also got PMI at 3 o'clock. This is in reference to UK time, GMT. So yeah, we do have some big events, and of course no NFP this week as well, so don't have to worry about that. Don't have to worry about NFP later this week. It's an interesting situation though, because this doesn't happen all the time. You don't have the the US government in shutdown mode and no NFP. I think the last time that happened was when I first started trading. I wasn't really too sure what that was. I mean, I didn't even notice it, to be honest. And that was about 8 years ago, or 9 years, I think. Yeah, 8 years ago, 2017. So, and again, that's a big part of trading, just building experience with unique situations. Like, for example, COVID, the height of Russia-Ukraine. You know, all these events here provide learning experiences, especially in terms of risk management. You can learn some big lessons during that time. And one of the big lessons of trading, especially when trading for a long time, is being able to be adaptable, because things change, markets change, edges decay, edges improve. you always need to be on top of your game in terms of monitoring that and making sure you're aligning yourself in the right direction. Because let's say if you got like a stop loss, a fixed stop loss of like 20 pips, you know, during COVID or during Russia-Ukraine, when the average daily range, you know, 10x pretty much, your stop loss is going to get ripped. So that stop loss won't do anymore. You need to change that, and that's how you get you're better at trading as well, because you recognize that situation. Okay, the average daily range is increasing, market is very volatile, this 20 pip stop loss ain't going to cut it. Let me increase my risk based on how volatile the market, increase my stop loss based on how volatile the market is. And likewise, your take profits will be bigger as well. And that's a learning experience. That's being adaptable. That's, you know, changing to the markets there. That's a very small micro change, but it's something to keep an eye on. And you think about the average retail trader who's just kind of here for a quick buck, not really, you know, watching those things, not really looking at how volatile the market is, not really seeing if the market's trending well or starting to consolidate or failing at highs or taking out lows. Not really looking at the finer details. You know, that's where the separation is, and that's kind of where the edge is as well. You're not here to be to solve the market, solve the algorithm, or, you know, find the magic pattern that always works. You're just here to create that slight edge and let that edge play out over time and make sure you're consistent with that edge. And that edge can be very much in your timing, in how you manage your trades, how you let your trades play out and letting your winners run. And your edge can be quite simple, but you do it well. Because again, we're retail traders at the end of the day. We don't really have access to, you know, state-of-the-art infrastructure or information research. So you have to be very, very detailed in what you're doing. And then being adaptable is part of that. So when the news comes out, we'll see what happens with USD and pound, but my focus in terms of direction has already been set. I'm just looking at these news events as catalysts for either pullbacks or continuations, or maybe a reversal for me to rethink my bias. And of course, we'll see what the numbers say as well. But if you quickly go through my watch list, at least for the remainder of the week, dollar yen is going to be number one in terms of opportunities, because we've already tested the level, already seen a bounce. I'm basically just looking for an entry now. So this is where primarily my focus is. We've still got 2 hours left for that candle to close, 2 in a bit. So going to be patient, but I am looking for opportunities on the break of that high there. Not the best risk reward into the high, but the plan is that we're likely to continue a lot further. So I don't mind locking in some gains there, trading some stops, and see if you can look for the bigger breakout. But dollar yen definitely the top of the watch list. As I mentioned, pound yen also looking really good for a recovery. If we can close back above that low, I'll look for entries there. Hopefully that'll be after the Bank of England interest rates, to be honest. I wouldn't want to do that before. So the timing of that's going to be important. In terms of the USD pairs, I pretty much like quite a lot of them, but because they've been so bearish or bullish, pullbacks have been hard to come by. This could be a nice opportunity in the 15. We're looking very bearish last time I looked at Euro, but we've pulled back here a little bit. So I would suggest keep an eye on that area. It's pretty much a range, but the idea of it is that, okay, if price is ranging, but we're in the direction of the predominant wind, the trend, there's a good chance the highs do hold and at least see some follow through to the downside. It might not rip to new lows. It might only get 50% of the range. That's probably enough for you to start managing that trade and reducing risk, maybe taking some positions off. Depends how you want to manage it, but you can profit from that move at the very least. Might not be ginormous, but at least something. And then maybe you do get that bigger move as well, and you leave positions to run for that. But I do like that setup on euro. I think intraday that looks really good. In terms of the swing opportunity, I like it as well. Again, we've had this low, the pullback, low, high, and we've ripped to the downside, creating new lows. This to me is a great place for a short. It's just a big if we will get there. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We'll have to wait and see. Pound USD, I like the shorts for this one as well, but again, we've just been so bearish, so I do need some upside. I'm not really even keen on this zone. I think this zone here is just a bit more intraday. If I'm looking to short on the 4 hour for like a big swing trade, then I would want price to be a lot higher. So 1.33 up here would be sufficient. That was the plan at the start of the week. It's just, of course, we've been so bearish, we haven't found that opportunity. But pound USD pullbacks, more downside, looks like a likely move. Very convincing downtrend there. USD looks like it's about to break highs. We've got a good recipe here. And in terms of another USD pair which I like, I think dollar CHF's got an opportunity. It looks quite similar to the DXY itself in terms of we could be forming some type of bottom here. So there could be some nice counter trend opportunities to the upside. This one's a bit more of an aggressive trade because CHF has been so strong as well. So I will be a bit more careful with this idea. But again, I like the way we're breaking structure, making new highs, looking for a pullback and then more upside for dollar CHF. But not my favorite pair. If I can get a trade in euro or pound, I'll be a lot more focused on the shorts there. Hey, what's up, Bashi? Hope you're doing good, my man. Appreciate it. Thank you. If you guys are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, share it with your friends, drop a chat in the chat if you are interested in terms of discussing a certain pair or sharing a chart, a trade you're in. Let us know. No worries, Bashi. Don't have to apologize, my man. After butting heads for ages. Was it the same situation as yesterday about you have to trade 0.5% for like 4 days, and then you can do 0.01 lots on one of the other days? Was it the same one? Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, at least you get your payout now. What strategy are you using? Are you asking Bashi or me? Again, I primarily look for pro trend mean reversion setup. So I'm looking for price to be trending, and then I want to try and pick the lows or the pullbacks, and then look to try and hold for a swing back to the prior high. So I'm trying to keep my risk small in reference to the trend I'm trying to take advantage of. Oh really? Wow. Damn, you had to go for a lot for that one. I didn't realize it was that stressful. Damn. Growth. Okay, I'll take a look at dollar yen. Well, yeah, hopefully they should accept it now. Again, the thing is, as long as you follow the rules, you shouldn't have to worry about anything, to be honest. But sometimes the fine print can always be a bit tricky, can it? Okay, so yeah, dollar yen. Is it dollar yen you said? Yeah, dollar yen. So yeah, dollar yen extremely bullish on this one. Looking for entries on the break and retest. So again, we've got the higher highs, higher lows mapped out pretty well. just looking for the retest of this for the continuation. So entries, I am looking for a closure above this high on the 4-hour chart, because I like how we've got the retest, of the high here. It looks like price formed support, broke support to come and test the bigger level, recovered it, and now is struggling at the high. So a nice entry would be if we can break back above the high there. The stop loss would be great in reference to the high here, but I have the expectation that this can go a lot further. So I'm happy to take the trade, but I'll just manage my risk a bit more aggressively. But essentially, yeah, just a break and retest here for dollar yen. Powerful breakout last week. We've come back to retest it this week. Expecting continuation. Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Record your data. Oh, okay. During your cycle there. Yeah, I mean, again, if you as a trader, you just make sure you put everything in your favor. To be honest, in terms of understand the rules of the prop firm, understand the rules of the challenge, and then make sure you mold whatever strategy you're doing within those confinements, and then all that kind of stress is off your shoulders as long as you stick to that plan. And of course, yeah, discipline, you need that. And Bashi have that in abundance. Okay, fair enough. Damn, Bashi, you got to work. Impressive. Yeah, I mean, again, if you're a trader for the prop firm, all you need to know is what they expect of you. If there's clarity between what you're expecting of the trader, in terms of the prop firm expecting of the trader and what the trader is expecting of the prop firm, if you have synchronicity there, everything is good to go. If the prop firm is not clear, then the trade's going to have problems and vice versa. Did you take any trades on pound yen, Bashi? Yeah, as a trader, you need to be analytical, to be honest. That's a good trait to have as a trader. That's an interesting question, Bashi. Yes, that's something you gotta go ponder on. Yeah, of course, you don't want to wing. You don't want to be in that situation where you're just winging trades, because that's when the emotions are at the highest. Because even when you're very systematic with your trading, like, okay, I need this, that, and then I can take a trade. Even when you're very disciplined, very systematic, even then, you still have slightly more. You still have slightly more emotions, because again, trading, you're always risking real money. You have always. What's it called? You always have risk on the table. So even if you're the most disciplined trader in the world, you still have a bit of emotion. It might be small, but you still have the emotion. So if you're not following rules, or you don't have a plan, or you don't have like a process you're following, and you're just winging it, your emotions can be so heightened. So in terms of tackling emotions, managing emotions, it's going to be very, very difficult to manage that. So a good way to actually manage emotions is get a very strategic plan in place. Of course, even then emotions will still come up, but it'll be a lot smaller. And that's from my personal experience as well. Because if I'm looking to kind of wing it or try and follow my instincts a little bit more, emotions are heightened because I'm kind of relying on my own judgment. But I mean, of course, I'm still relying on my own judgment. But if I have a plan in place, emotions instantly reduced. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, elevating traders, we're looking to transition into a prop firm focusing on decentralized exchanges. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a makeover for that, which could take a while. But the long-term vision, building elevating traders into a bigger prop firm is still very much the goal. So yeah, Bashi, when we do build the decentralized prop firm, look into us, bro. Give you some VIP welcome. Wasn't it Thunder Next you were using, Bashi? Okay, you're a longs. Oh, okay, fair enough. Looking at G tagged entry. Let's see happen for longs. Okay, fair enough. Almost had feelings. I mean, we all have feelings, man. We all have feelings. You don't feel down just because you had a bit of feelings, bro. Everyone's got a bit of feelings. Even when things are going very, very well or things are going very, very poorly. Yeah, even if you're the most disciplined person, you're gonna have something. Of course. Oh, okay, different. Okay, my bad. Oh, okay, my bad. Five stages of grief. Real fast with missed trades and look for the next one. Yeah. Just speed up the 5 stages of grief situation. Make sure each stage lasts for about 5 seconds, then you're on to the next one. You can probably embed that to your trading plan. Okay, I haven't heard of many people using Bright Funded before. I know they're a pretty big prop firm, but not on the hugely popular side, so interesting. Don't have feelings. Well, you'd be a very good trader then, Bashi. Very good trader if you don't have feelings. I think the thing with feelings is you just need to recognize when they're there and know how to override them, which is difficult because emotions are very powerful. But if you can recognize them when they're there, and especially if you can have in your plan like a protocol to make sure you're calm for a trade, that would do wonders. Because there's so many times where you've been, well, in my trading where I've been very emotional, and then I'll just take another trade purely out of that emotion, and then I'll look back at myself and be like, okay, why did you take that trade? Makes no sense, but in that moment it did make sense because I was very emotional. So having like a protocol to say, okay, let me read my plan out again. Even just reading your plan can just kind of diminish the emotions. It won't take them away, but reading your plan just puts you back in the framework of no nonsense, discipline, following the system, managing risk. Just doing that can help. It doesn't have to be crazy in terms of go to the gym, run 5 miles, do a bit of breath work and take a cold shower. It doesn't have to be doesn't have to be that detailed. It could just be as simple as just reading your plan again, or just going for like a 5-minute walk and then coming back. True, that's actually very true. Yes, that's actually not talked about much. Emotions can be the biggest motivation as well. There are two sides of the coin. That's actually very true. That's actually not spoke about enough. But the thing is, you need to manage that side of the coin as well, because equally that can be good, but that can also be a downfall too. Just like how fear can be a good thing as well, if used correctly. But that's a very good point. I do agree with that too. But actually, we're currently going under a revamp, so I can't give you a count at the moment. Yeah, spreads are pretty tight. It fluctuates slightly, but Euro USD less than a pip. But again, when the revamp's going to take some time, but we're looking to transition to like a more decentralized prop firm. But when that's up and running, I'll let you know. Train's a job. I don't have emotions for work. The thing is, most people though do have a lot of emotions in their work. Just keep them suppressed. Yeah, true. I think it's just you don't want to get carried away with either side of the coin, really. I think CS were just pointing that emotions can be positive too, which they can be positive. It's just that you don't want to let either side of the situation get out of control, because they're positive, but eventually if you're too positive, they'll turn negative, and same thing the negative side of things as well. It's just balance, really. And that's why people like using bots, because there is no emotions involved with a bot. I almost 99% of the time agree with me. It's like 1%, you're just like, no, I don't agree. Yeah, but of course, we're not going to agree on everything. Don't love trading. I suppose you're just here for the coinage then. To be fair, again, I do love trading, but there are some parts of trading which I don't like and are annoying. But as a whole, I do love trading. I've been doing it for too long not to love it. Yeah, of course. I mean, you're going to have different perspectives, different opinions. We're two different people at the end of the day, so different ideas. And the thing is, we could both be trading for 20 years, have amazing careers, and even after then, there will still be some things we disagree on. Because what works for you, I mean, we're completely different traders. You're very intraday. I'm a lot more swing, so even that's going to have some different perspectives. But the thing is, like you said, there's no kind of real right or wrong. There's more so what works and what doesn't work, which I suppose can be right or wrong too, but then what works and doesn't work is different for every person. The thing you love about trading isn't trading, what is it? Oh, there's some birds outside. I mean, what I like about trading the most is probably probably just the in a weird way, probably the uncertainty of it, to be honest. I mean, in terms of trading the profession, what I love about it most is that I can trade anywhere in the world. I mean, again, I'm here in Kigali. I can trade. I'm streaming here as well. So I love the freedom that trading does provide, and of course, the fact there's no caps to your upside as well. A lot of professions, there's always certain types of caps. In terms of your earnings, trading is pretty much as far as you can take it. So those are the two things I like about trading. But in terms of the actual trading itself, I like the uncertainty of it, that nothing's guaranteed and that you always have to be on top of your game. I quite like that aspect. I think it allows me to be competitive. Had these issues from freedom, my own boss, and the freedom. Yeah, I mean, same here as well. Very true, Bashi. Very true. Doesn't have to make you billions for you to want to become a trader. So the freedom as well. I agree. That's definitely the biggest reason. Anywhere in the world, so much freedom for it. And I generally do think the harder you work, the more it pays off. In a sort of linear way. Of course. I think the biggest thing is, of course, building up your own capital, your own basis, but you want to leverage that as much as possible. But anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I do hope each and every one of you has found it useful, enjoyed it, entertaining, learned something. If that's the case, drop a like. It does really help out. Share it with your friends. Hit the bell. Check out the channel memberships for more content. Members only videos, trade ideas as well. So if you are interested, go check them out. I will be live again tomorrow and Friday as well. We got a big day tomorrow with the Fed interest rate. Not Fed interest rate, Bank of England interest rate. Got the Fed on the mind. Bank of England tomorrow, which is right at the end of the stream. So we'll probably do like a little extra segment there just to see what happens with the news tomorrow. But guys, we do have employment change later today. So do be wary of that. Appreciate the links there, Bashi. But yeah, guys, if you are interested, check out the links, check out the DX platform as well if you're looking to trade some perps. Great place to start with. But I do really appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next stream. Take care.
Six AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI